Okay, this is going to be a weekly recap from the 7th to the 11th of February, and I had a total of 8 trades. One of these 8 trades was a bit of a swing trade that I didn't hold very long, and I'll be honest, the stats here are kind of horrible. Winning percentage is 50%, which is fine, and then this one was really bad. Like, the amount of trades I had that, traded according to my dollar risk level it was just one, which was right here, this trade with MTTR. Everything else did not really play off of my dollar risk levels, which means if it was a profitable setup, I didn't make as much as I could have. And on top of that, maybe it was a loser trade. I'm just not trading according to my dollar risk level. That's something I need to really work on. That was actually kind of bad. My average dollar gain was $4. My average loss was 66 pennies, which is great. In terms of difference, my average percent gain is okay. I want to see it really consistently in 2 to 3s, but there was a lot of scratches, and as you can see here, all of these red no's were setups that did not play out, that did not do what I wanted it to do. I had a lot of scratches, one that worked out, and one that kind of worked out. So, not trading according to my dollar risk level, and then on top of that, the setups didn't really play out. A lot of scratches. It just not made it very ideal, but I was still profitable. Finally, I broke the record in terms of having red weeks. I didn't have any dumb trades this time. I didn't accidentally 10x my position size by adding a zero when I wasn't supposed to. I didn't get wrecked on the trade that had a ridiculous spread and I didn't look and I had to ask, which was way off from the bid, and I didn't trade any options. So all of that put together, no dumb trades, just led to, a profitable week. And that was on the week that, again, a lot of setups did not play out. So I think that's really good. And my average position size was slightly, yeah, I guess like $100 more than what my average losing position was, which is good. This is not really a big difference, and I made 14 bucks with $1,500 of trading volume, which is right under 1%. So yeah, I'm very happy that I ended up having a green week, despite the fact that I didn't trade according to my dollar risk level on most setups. And number two, a lot of the setups didn't play out. They were scratches, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going to go ahead and go over all of the setups, all of the trades I took one by one. And let's start with KRBM, which is just a. It was supposed to be a swing trade, and I didn't hold on to this very long. And yeah, let's go ahead and go over that one. That one wasn't really something I did well. So let's look at KRBM, and I was in on the 4th. I was out on the 7th. So yeah, let's look at that. And I was also looking at the overall markets. Really sketchy. I mean, it looks like a head and shoulder, head, and then we might be doing a shoulder here. You would think that Bitcoin would be positive when the overall markets are doing bad, but it also looks like a head and shoulders with Bitcoin, shoulder, head, and then maybe it's going to make a shoulder. You can even say here, an inception, shoulder, head, shoulder, in the head part of this shoulder, head, shoulder. I called the move right here. I have a screenshot somewhere, but I don't know, man. The overall markets are just not looking that nice. I'm actually kind of iffy about the setup I took with QYLD on Friday, but we'll see what happens. Let's just go ahead and go over KRBN. And since this was, I guess I'll just leave it like this. No, actually, I'll do one of these. It's just gonna be something I'll briefly go over. It did not play out, but I was in KRBN. This was something I've been wanting to hold for a while, and to take it into consideration, this was a setup that just reinforced the idea that I have been following recently, which is trading stocks that for a long-term position under EMA4, and if it's above it, not to trade it. And I guess we'll just do the whole thing off of this chart actually, if I could zoom in a little more. But essentially, I was in right here February the 4th at 55.87. The 4th was right here, 55.87. So right about here was my entry. And I just got tired of this one because of how well it has uptrended, how strong it is, and how it keeps going. Despite the overall markets being a little sketchy, it just kept uptrending. And I thought, all right, well, let me be in right here. It's way above EMA4. Maybe I'll do a breakout, but I got wrecked. I got out the next trading day. It was a Friday here, and I got out on a Monday at 55.57. So just 30 cents, $1.50 loss. Just want to go over every single one of my trades, even if it wasn't, that much. And I guess it did close lower and it did downtrend some more. So I'm glad I had my mental stop and I followed it. But I don't have the line here, but there's a line called the EMA4 and I go over it a lot. This one just, was something above it. And I think this was one of the last times I made that mistake of trying to swing a setup above EMA4 because it just feels like you're that much in at a better price when you're buying a stock below it. That was about it for this one. And I did trade small, and yeah, it just didn't work out for that swing trade. Let's go over my first day trade, which is JPEX, and this is a higher day breakout. So let's look at JPEX for the 7th. The 7th is right here. Okay, so after this big red day right here where I had a huge, I think it was a gap down, but let's look at the 7th, which was way back here. And the setup again was high day breakout. Let's look at 951, 18.2, 951. I guess I need to zoom back a little more. Right here. Okay, 951 right here. You can see I had like a morning spike, nice volume. 951, 18.2. I was in right here. So you can see, it could have done a high day breakout if you don't count the wick. And I was in it for that reason. As you can see, it didn't really play out, but it didn't like immediately fail. I got out at 9:53. 2 minutes later, it seems like, or actually a minute and 20 seconds later at 18.4, 9:53, 18.4 was this red candle. And I just got out. I was in it right here and I got out right here. Probably didn't like the price action. I wanted it to work immediately and it wasn't doing that. In fact, it eventually consolidated and it failed, but that was a good attempt. That was definitely a scratch. And it looks like I had pretty good executions with Fidelity and I only had a $2 risk level. Maybe I was just trading smaller than usual, but I mean, in theory, I should have had 25,000 shares. I need to not be afraid to trade a larger size, especially if, 25,000 shares, $400. It's not really that much. Any regular, day trader who trades, for a living, they don't trade tiny $400 positions. Now, I'm not saying I should immediately jump to trading $10,000 positions, but I should definitely be less afraid of trading, these small positions. And not get too penny pinching about having an $80 setup or a $200 setup. Let's look at MTTR. This was a swing attempt, but I got in and out the same day. For the 7th, let's look at MTTR for the 7th. Alright, this is one that I've been interested in swinging because of the fact that it was downtrending for such a long time, as you can see. And then it eventually kind of broke this little trend line right here and it started to consolidate. I wanted it to immediately turn around. I guess that was me being newbie, but it's consolidating. Maybe it can uptrend at some point, but I'll probably leave it alone because it seems like it's a cursed stock, so it's probably best that I stay away from it. And the 7th was on that day right there. Let's go ahead and look at let's make sure the 7th, right? Yeah, the 7th. Right here. And let's highlight the entire day. This was, again, a number 5 entry, means I got in at a morning panic bottom, and this was one of the few setups I wanted to hold for a longer period of time. I got in at 1026 at 819, so let's look at 1026 right here, 1026, 819, right here was my entry at 1026. So it did look like a morning panic. You know, it just downtrended, and then it had this downtrend at this bottom here. Then it bounced, and then it came back. So then I thought, all right, it's consolidating near the day low. I can try to uptrend. It did break the day low briefly, and then it came back. It never got to my stop, but as you can see, it did offer a move, you know, a bounce from this 811 level to the 830s. And again, this is something I wanted to hold for a longer period of time. Looking at the daily chart, this one did not play out. I just didn't like the way it was trading. I got out at 1039, and that was 830, almost 831. 1039, 830. So right here was my exit, my last exit, right here at 830. That was my average. I'm pretty sure I sold this thing in two pieces again with my entry right here at 1026, and I got out around here in the 1030, was it? Yeah, 1039 level. I sold in pieces, and I didn't respect my last stop for break even. Okay, so basically I was in right here. I placed a stop and never got, you know, past my stop, and then it uptrended, and then I sold a piece at some point, probably around here. And then what I did was that I sold the other piece right here, but I wanted to have a stop at maybe my entry price, or maybe this level right here, the day low. And even though it would have went to that day low, and I would have sold that other piece for less because of the fact that it downtrended, because I sold it right around here, I didn't give myself an opportunity for this setup for over, you know, a longer period of time, whether it be the day or the next few days, uptrend, maybe put up higher lows, and I lost myself from that opportunity. Although it didn't work out here, and even though it was better that I sold it where I did that last piece, I want to stick to my trade more, and maybe this one's a bit of a cursed stock, but that's exactly the plan, because if this thing would have, you know, maybe made a high here and it consolidated and then it went towards a VWAP and uptrend even more, I would have been very salty, because then I sold what was the top at that point, but it uptrended more. And again, even though this one did downtrend, and it would have broken my stop, or at least where I wanted to have my mental stop for the last part of the trade, that wasn't ideal. That wasn't following my plan. So that's probably why I put okay, because I did sell well. I just, you know, maybe should have left just a tiny piece left and stuck with my mental stop loss there, even if it didn't once again work out on that situation, that specific trade. Let's look at ILUS for the 8th, and this was a morning panic bounce play. Let's look at ILUS for the 8th. The 8th was right about here. Not a very significant red day, other than the fact that it's kind of breaking off of this range that appears to have been important, but it's not really that nice looking. This looks nice on the knife. I think that's the one I traded that, you know, was super nice. But let's look at the 8th. I was in at 934, 18.3. 934, way back here. 934 was right here. 18.3 was my entry. So I was in right here thinking it was a morning panic bounce play, downtrends, and then I thought, or maybe there was like a level 2 reversal, and I'm in at 18.3 right there. And I got out the next minute at 18.4. So 935 right here, 18.4 was my sell. I had a very nice sell at the very top of this, but I probably just did not like the price action. It didn't look like it was going to turn around. And I think I had a note that I was too early. In theory, I should have waited for this one. If you want to see details, you can go back to the video I published on the 8th, and I'll go over it in detail. But in theory, I should have been in at this 18.2 level, and then selling right here because there was a big wall at 18.4, and it never uptrended. It didn't work here. So you can see it made another leg down, and then another leg down, and then some consolidation, and then it broke past VWAP. I've seen this happen so many times. I want to be a part of something like this where it's just about to make a move towards the upside and break VWAP. But again, as for the trade right here, it didn't work out. It was another scratch, but I still got out of it profitably. And yeah, that was it for that one. And I think I traded this one. Yep. Morning panic bounce play, second attempt. I tried it one more time. This was another scratch, Although I didn't get out profitably, I only lost 10 pennies. Let's look at 945, 17.7, 945. So again, I tried it here and now I'm in right here. 945, 17.7 was my entry. So right here was my entry. Give or take right here, again, trying this move right here. It's looking like it's trying to base and kind of do this curving action, and maybe we can get a nice move towards VWAP and above it. It just didn't work out here, as you can tell. And I got out of this one 5 minutes later. So I held on this one a bit longer, and I got out at 17.68. As you can see, that's a small difference, like 0.11%. 950, 17.68. Right here, 17.68. I got out right here. And you know, you might say, oh, you're lucky, right before it fell off a cliff. No, the price action just looked horrible. Let's see if I had any notes. I was smaller in size because it was more sketchy, and it looked like the volume was low, but the sellers on the ask had a lot of size, and that's pretty much one of the easiest ways a morning panic bounce play can fail, is if you know, there's a lot of big volume because it's panicking and all, and it's looking crazy, and then the volume dries up. But then there are big sellers still at the ask with a lot of size, and there's not volume. You know, there's not any more volume pushing it. That can make all of those big sellers have to panic sell, jump on each other, and make another leg down, which is what happened right there. Okay, and now let's look at the ninth. Yeah, this was the one I saw that looked super nice. ILUS morning panic bounce play again, but on the ninth. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, well, I guess since it's the ninth, we'll just do one little tick. Right here is where I trade it. Let's take a look at the ninth. We'll do it from right here. This was it. This one worked super nicely. This is a classic textbook morning panic bounce play. If any of you guys watching this are interested in trading morning panic bounce plays, or the number 5 setup, or morning panic dip buys, whatever you want to call it, this is a very clean textbook example of a nice panic bottoming right here. No significant volume, but it did do like a bottom right here, a level 2 reversal, playing off of a round number, which is 15 cents, a very key level. Sometimes it will break this key level of 15 cents or 10 cents or 20 cents, and then it will not downtrend much more, and it immediately comes back. And then this one made an uptrend. It held VWAP. It did one move above VWAP. It came back. A little different. Sometimes they do it right then and there, hold VWAP, and then uptrend. But this one had like a little uptrend, and then it came back to VWAP, and then an uptrend even more. Super nice. As you can see, 15 to 17 and a half. And it did make a run for 18. This is super ideal, something I try my best to get good at, and this was a great example. I made $12 trading this one, but I could have went in theory much more, and size could have went much larger. I did think I was in at a larger position size, and I was 3,000 shares compared to my average, you know, with ILUS 1,500 or 500 shares that I've traded with this one before, but that was still not enough because I only ended up trading right here, $400 position, a $9 risk level. Ideally, I would have had, because of how clean this one was, a $20 or a $30 risk level. It would have been nice if I traded 9,000 shares, and that would have been super profitable. And I didn't even have the best sell here. I could have actually have sold this one somewhat easily at 16, and then it still had more room towards the upside. But let's go ahead and go over what was right here. The only ideal setup that actually worked, as you can see right here, for ILUS, the morning panic bounce play. I was in at 939 at 15.3. Right here, 939, this candle, 15.3. So essentially it was downtrending. I even had a trend line. It broke the trend line. I saw the level 2 reversal here at like this 15.20 level, but I hesitated, and then it worked, right? It was starting to make the move, and that it downtrended here, kind of turned around, and then right here it opened right here, and I put in my order at the bid around 15.3. It did get to my order at 15.3, and I got executed. It did downtrend a bit more. It got to 15.2, but it never broke the day low. When I saw this thing, you know, now turning around, I thought, okay, maybe it will make a move back near the bottom, but then, you know, it'll actually go from there. That's why I was in at 15.3 again at this 939 level right here. And I might have been in at 940. I just placed my order at 943 and I didn't get executed until the next minute here. I'm pretty sure I got in at the wick right here at 940 actually, but I was in right here, and if it were to have broken the day low, if it were to have looked like it was going to break 15, I will be getting out of my position there. And I did sell my entire position at 941 at 15.7 right here, 941, 15.7. Let me zoom in a bit more. Again, in theory, I'm pretty sure I was in at 15.3 here at the wick. Even though I placed my order at 939, I didn't get executed until here at 940. And then I sold again, yeah, really soon at 15.7, 941. I should have sold half of my position right here. But what really threw me off is that I have been trading nothing but scratches with morning panic bounce plays. And then that we get this one here that actually worked out. I was worried that it was going to immediately fail just because of the fact I haven't seen one work out in a long time. And this one played out super nicely. You know, ideally, if I were to do this trade again, I would have been in a lot larger. I'm very happy with when I got in. Super happy. I could have sold half in the 15.7 level here, or even try to sell it in the 15.8s. And then I probably would have tried to sell the other half when it broke above VWAP at 16.2, and that would have been nice. This one did hold VWAP, and then it, you know, continued the uptrend, and you know, this doesn't happen too much, but in theory, in the future, I want to be in a situation when I'm in this type of trade, and I'm in larger because it was super ideal the way it played out, super nice looking. I sold half at or near VWAP, and then sell the other half when it makes an uptrend above VWAP here, or if it only gets to VWAP and then it downtrends, I'll get out, you know, then and there, or you know, if it breaks the day low or my entry. But normally, you know, I'm going for that morning panic bounce play. I'm in, it gets to VWAP, I sell half, and then it's holding this certain level, and if it breaks below that, I get out. But if it breaks above VWAP and does something nice like it did here or even here, I'd be out the other half. No way I'm going to sell all the way up here because it just doesn't happen that much that a morning panic bounce play plays this well. But that was the idea there. I hope that made sense, and that was, you know, very nice, although I didn't make that much. A morning panic bounce play that actually worked, and I'll be that much more confident and ready in the future to trade it, just because, you know, we just saw a recent example here that worked out nicely. Let's look at MTTR for the 10th, and this was the inverse head and shoulders. These last two trades were scratches. Not really ideal setups that I focus on the most, which is morning panic bounce plays, but I'm happy that I tried these. Let's look at MTTR for the 10th. And for those of you wondering, no, I did not drink a Red Bull. I don't know where I got all this energy from. This is the 10th right here, and yeah, just me trying again. I don't think I'll really mess with this one unless it's just something super obviously nice. This one might be cursed because I did some research and it just seems like it's something that you know, had like some really bad dealings with their SPAC or whatever. I don't necessarily understand it too much, but it seems like it's a bit cursed, so I might stay away from it. But let's look at this. I was in at 209 and that was at 896.5, so 897 at 209. 209 was right here at right here, 897. Basically right here was my entry. Why was I trading this? Inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, and then ideally I'm in at, shoot, where am I? Right here, shoulder, head, shoulder. And I thought, you know, it could make a move towards VWAP or above it. I've seen some where they're ugly, like the shoulder's way up here, then the head is here, but then the right shoulder's looking all ugly near the head, and then they work out so nicely. But this one did not work out. I was in again at 897. As you can see, it didn't play out, and I got out of my entire position by the time it was 215 at 890. So 215 was right. Okay, so I guess 214 because I was out at, oh no, actually, yeah, right here. I was out right here at 890. It just didn't play out because, you know, it got to the head right here and it broke under it. I stuck to my plan and, you know, when it got near the head where, in theory is no longer going to be an inverse head and shoulder, so I got out. Sure, you can say I played it off here, shoulder, head, and then shoulder, right? Another one that's close to the head, as this one was close to the head, but this one played out from the 880s to the 890s. Just not a lot of range. It didn't really, work out. Again, it wasn't ideal, but that was an attempt there. Small paper cut. It was a scratch. It didn't play out. And let's look at the last trade with HMBL. Consolidation buy for breakout. So let's look at HMBL for the 11th. The 11th is right here. I like this one because it's similar to MTTR. I've said this one is also sketchy because, it's like an OTC pump, but, maybe it's an actual real company. I honestly don't know. I just assume the worst out of everything, but this was nice because it keeps downtrending, but it looks like it's trying to actually do something. If I draw a trend line, it might show it. I don't necessarily use Thinkorswim charts, but I don't know. It just looks like it's getting to the point where it might pierce this level and do something different. But the way it is right here looks like it's still going to potentially continue the downtrend. But let's look at that last day, which was the 10th right here. Did I not trade anything on the 11th? Oh, actually, it was on the 11th. Let's look at the 11th. These patterns have been making more sense, but I just got in at a point that it didn't work out. I was in at 953, 1698. Right here, 953. Let me zoom in a bit more. 953, 1698 right here. I hit the ask. So I was thinking, all right, I had this downtrend, but very nice price action. It made a nice move towards the upside. Now it's consolidating here above VWAP. Ideally, it would have been under VWAP or at VWAP. As you can see, it did, put up a higher low here to here, and this was under VWAP. But in theory, it does this nice uptrend consolidation, and then it makes another leg up, right? And it kind of does a high day breakout and everything, but it didn't play out right here. But this is something that I've seen multiple times. Again, it had a nice uptrend, downtrend, but then it higher from the level there, and then it kind of holds VWAP, right? And then it does another follow-up breakout at 17, and it got to 18. So that's pretty nice. And 17 to 18 is like 5% or something like that. So again, I was in right there, and I got out at 958 at 16.9. 958 right here is where I was out, 16.9. So I got out right here. Again, I was in right here, and I got out right here. The price action was very classic. It just didn't work out. There were too many people at the ask, not that many at the bid, and then when somebody would jump in at the bid and maybe, be higher than where it's trading, off of this range right here, you can see the bottom is basically 1681, and the top was 1698. So when somebody would show up at the bid at a higher price, so maybe at 16.9 for example, people would immediately sell into it and get rid of that person at the bid. Lots of people were dumping their shares at the bid. Lots of people were at the ask. And then when another person showed up at the ask and it looked like it was going to do something nasty, I got out of the position and I saved myself, which is why I got out right here, even though it downtrended. I wasn't some kind of, lucky guy. I just saw the price action, and yeah, that's about it. A lot of scratches. I had a lot of scratches, and ideally we can get a proper morning panic bounce play again like we had with ILUS on the 9th, and I can be able to trade that with a lot larger size, sell half at or near VWAP, and then if it breaks the range that it's holding at that VWAP level, I'll get out the rest. But ideally it continues the uptrend like it did there with ILUS, and I can be super profitable, and that'll be super motivating, and I can keep trying these scratches and keep taking a lot of small L's. But as long as my gains are a lot nicer and bigger than my L's, that would be nice. And I need to trade more according to my dollar risk level. That's all I have for this week.